When it comes to clothes, having pieces that you can wear anywhere is a must. That's why American Giant makes clothing that fits your life seamlessly, with quality you have to feel to believe. Whether you're stocking up for any weather or picking up a special gift, you'll find an impressive selection of staples to choose from. So whether you're on the hunt for a heavyweight hoodie, a fleece jacket, or a hardworking pair of warm sweatpants, American Giant has what you're looking for. Each American Giant piece is designed to last and created with commitment to doing things better. And all their products are made right here in America. Because keeping things local ensures the kind of quality you'll feel and appreciate for years to come. Discover the American Giant difference today. Shop Wear Anywhere closet staples at american-giant.com. And get 20% off your order when you use code ANYSTYLE24 at checkout. That's 20% off at american-giant.com. Promo code ANYSTYLE24.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
BSM presents The Tim Meisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Meisberg Show.
Welcome back in. Third and final hour of the program here on Friday morning. And next Wednesday marks the 107th birthday of the late President John F. Kennedy. And there is a group that is looking to make his birthday a Massachusetts state holiday. So we have a couple of guests that are going to join us to talk about that. First, let me introduce James P. Coughlin. He is the president and chief spokesperson for the Citizens Committee for the JFK Holiday. Let's bring him on the line here. Good morning, James. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And we also have
good.
We also have joining us on the line, too, Attorney Robert Cabana joining us, too. Good morning, Robert. Are you with us?
Good morning. How are you doing?
All right. There we go. See, I was able to put two guests on the phone at the same time. I almost know
Absolutely.
What I'm doing here.
You sure do.
So, James, talk to us a little bit about the Citizens Committee for the JFK Holiday and how it came about.
It came out as a result of many years of thinking about how John Kennedy should be honored with perpetuity. And holiday will be the best means of doing that, having annual observance of his birthday or some other day to memorialize him in perpetuity for what he did to our country and the world as a U.S. president in the 1960s.
And Robert, this is something that, has been done before for other figures where their birthdays get made into state holidays, and it would make sense that, a president of the United States would deserve the same honor.
Absolutely. Jimmy and I were very, very little boys when John F. Kennedy was president and when he came into office. But both of us had that same type of personal, emotional connection to that man. That man was a real leader. People today probably don't understand that kind of inspirational leadership that he gave to this country and to the world. And he deserves to be remembered. And hopefully this 60-year merry-go-round will finally stop and he'll finally get the recognition that he deserves.
And James, you had mentioned to me that you actually have a family connection to the Kennedy administration.
I did. My Aunt Mary Bailey Gallagher was one of the first hires that Jack Kennedy had when he became a U.S. Senator from Massachusetts back in 1952. And she was one of the four that went that was on Capitol Hill with him, and then she went to work from the White House.
And she was actually in the motorcade in 1963?
She was that day, absolutely.
Wow.
And upon leaving in the plane it was based in Maryland. Behind the president's coffin was Jacqueline Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. Mine was right next to both Jackie and Bobby.
Wow, that's amazing. And so
Thank you.
This is something that I think, a lot of folks, we make the joke here in New Bedford and in the New Bedford area, because it is such a highly Democratic area, that everybody has a picture of John F. Kennedy on their wall. Everybody's grandmother had a picture of John F. Kennedy on their wall.
I heard that from Tony Cabral.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
yes.
and he's one of the folks who is helping to support these efforts.
Absolutely. He's been great. He chairs the Committee on State Administration, and they approved the bill to have the Holiday Commission established to look at the idea of a day for JFK back in February of this year. So Tony's been great to us in the legislature.
And so there's two bills that are involved in this. There's the Senate bill and the House bill, and these are both getting positive reaction from people?
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Yes, they are.
And Robert, what have you been hearing from folks, just regular everyday people, about whether or not they want to see this holiday happen?
Most people are surprised that it hasn't already happened. They're wondering why it's taken so long.
I can understand that.
It's kind of a surprise to most people. They just assumed that his birthday was a holiday, many people.
And James, what would the holiday what's the word I'm looking for? What would be part of it if it is made a state holiday? What would that mean for everyday people? Would it be a day off from work? Would it be banks closed? How would that work?
We don't know right now. The bill calls to establish a Kennedy Holiday Commission to be appointed by the governor, the speaker, and the Senate president, membership from both branches of the Senate and the House, to look at a day for JFK. We're not sure what day will be yet. It's possible it could be Election Day or his birthday. We're not sure yet. We just don't know that yet.
Okay. And would that cause any, problems if it was the same day as Election Day? Would that cause an issue?
I don't think so, but, that's to be decided by the commission once the governor panels the commission, and they will debate it amongst themselves as to what day is most appropriate to honor Jack Kennedy on.
And Robert, if there is a day for JFK, no matter which day it would be, I think that would kind of also open the door for people to have, planned celebrations and memorials for him on that day.
Absolutely. And I think the most important thing people could do under those circumstances would be to celebrate the meaning he had for the country and also the direction he tried to move the country in. It's important that people understand that in this country we can produce leaders that move the country forward and give a positive view of our role in history.
Now, James, I know the national approach has been to de-emphasize presidents' birthdays because they've kind of combined it all into President's Day, so that's not, Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday are separate days like they used to be when I was younger. Now we just celebrate President's Day. And I think a lot of people might look and say, well, there were other presidents who were born in Massachusetts, too. Should we have state holidays for them as well?
Well, the issue is he was very special to our state. But additionally, other states on other favorite son presidents. There's a holiday in Texas for LBJ on September 4th, I think. Alabama honors Thomas Jefferson with a holiday in his state. And there's a holiday in California, in Yorba Linda, California, for Richard Nixon. So it's not at all with all presidents having a holiday for a home state president.
Sure, Robert, go ahead.
Yeah. I would have no problem. For example, Calvin Coolidge was the governor of Massachusetts. George Herbert Walker Bush was born in Milton, Massachusetts. I would have no problem with other, those types of holidays.
Mm-hmm.
What surprises me, though, is that given the effect of President Kennedy, that George Herbert Walker Bush even admitted during his lifetime, and others as well, why it's taken so long to get some kind of official state recognition of his life and his birth. I'm hoping that can be rectified pretty soon.
And it is key to have it happen at a time when you still have, not that the folks who were alive during the Kennedy administration are in danger of leaving us anytime soon, but, that generation is older, and we want to be able to see them be part of this effort to honor him.
Absolutely. See, Jimmy and I, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're very little boys. But just let me just briefly describe something to you that might help you to understand the effect that his kind of leadership had. As a very little boy, I mean, Jimmy can speak for himself. As a very little boy, I deeply admired him. I was an Irish French Catholic kid from Worcester, Massachusetts, that felt kind of inferior socially to the community I was in. When he was elected president, I felt like one of my own was in the White House. But more importantly, his inspirational way and his very honest way of speaking to people, as a very little boy, influenced me. I'll just give you one example. In 1963, when I was a little boy, I heard his speech on civil rights on June 11th, 1963, on national television. I was blown away. I was able to identify with what he was saying, and I became committed to his view of civil rights as a little boy, civil rights and equal opportunity and an end to poverty. A couple of months later, I was determined to try to get to the as a 10-year-old to try to get to the March on Washington. But living in a community of people that didn't care about that stuff at all, I was forced to try to watch the March on Washington on television, which I did. During the march and during the speech by Reverend King, I was sitting there mesmerized, watching the whole thing. My father and my uncle came in. Quite frankly, they were both bigots. And they came in and ridiculed me for watching the march. And my uncle started ridiculing Martin Luther King as he was giving the speech on television. I got up because of what President Kennedy had told me. I get up and said to my father for the first time in my life, I don't agree with you at all. I wish you'd stop doing this. And they were so affected by what I said, they walked out of the room and let me finish watching the March on Washington. That's the kind of effect President Kennedy had on people, giving them the courage to stand up for what was right. And people don't see that today because, people don't respect their politicians the same way they did then. I could go into other stories. I'll just give you a story that Liz Cheney said when she was awarded the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award last year at the Kennedy Center in Boston. She said that her father, Dick Cheney, who was about as right-wing a Republican as you can get, the former vice president of George W. Bush, was a senior at the University of Wyoming in the fall of 1963, 22 years old, when President Kennedy gave a speech in trying to inspire young people to get involved in public service and making the world a better place. Dick Cheney, as a 22-year-old, was blown away, according to Liz. He ran out of the arena where Kennedy had just spoken to try to get to the car to shake President Kennedy's hand before he left and thanking him for the speech. Dick Cheney later said, believe it or not, that speech is what inspired him to get involved in politics. Liz then said, when she was working on the January 6th committee in Congress, that she spoke to Steny Hoyer, who was at that point Nancy Pelosi's assistant in the House. And she told the story of her father. And Steny Hoyer stopped her and said, Liz, the same thing happened to me that year at the University of Maryland. How many leaders in our country's history can, claim that kind of inspiration? And we need that kind of inspiration today. And that's the reason why we have to touch his legacy and what makes him so special.
Well, I'm going to ask this question to both of you. I can't imagine that anybody would be against this idea. Have you heard from anybody who has been opposed to creating the state holiday?
I have not, no, not at all.
How about you, Robert?
Neither have I. That's why it's so baffling as to why 60 years later we still don't have it.
It just seems to make sense, and it seems like it's one of those things where it's an honorary thing. It's not like you have to shut down schools for the day. It's not like it's going to cause any logistical issues. It's just a way to honor the man.
Absolutely. And I hope that it will pass very, very quickly.
So again, his birthday is coming up next week, next Wednesday. So obviously things aren't going to get done in time for an observation this year. But what are the next steps, James, going forward with this?
The bill right now is before the Senate and House Ways and Means Committee. That's the last step before it goes to the floor for a vote. Right now, we're lobbying people in the legislature to get the bill out of the Senate and House Ways and Means Committee. And Senator Rodriguez is the chair of the Senate Ways and Means Committee. I'd like to have listeners who support the idea of the holiday to call the senator's office either in Fall River or in Boston. I have the numbers right here, if I may do that right now.
Sure.
Tim. If you call them in Boston, to the State House, the number there is 617-722-1114. If you're calling in Boston, if you're calling in the Fall River, the district office of the Fall River, that number is 508-646-0650. An email to the Senator Rodriguez of Fall River will be, and is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Rodriguez, RODRIGUES @MA-Senate.gov.
And so, yeah, let's get everybody who supports this idea to write in to the senator and to call in, and let's
email also. Yep.
Let's see if we can make this happen.
That'd be great.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Robert.
No, that would be great. Thank you.
And I thank you for joining us. And please, if you can, keep us up to date on all of this and let us know how it moves along in the process.
We sure will. No problem at all with that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And again, that was our guest. Hold on, let me do that there and do that there. So that was our guest, James P. Coughlin, the president of the Citizens Committee for the JFK Holiday, and his associate attorney, Robert Cabana. And I think it, like I said, it's a no-brainer to me, because what's the downside? I think it's a holiday that would mean a lot for people. It would be impactful for people. It's a president who came from Massachusetts, and as Robert said, he wouldn't be opposed to having a way to honor all the presidents who were born in Massachusetts. So I'm for it. I don't know how you feel about it. 508-996-0500. I'm going to take a break, and we'll be back in a few moments. And welcome back in, 508-996-0500. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Good morning, Tim. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Not bad. I'd love to take it a step further for JFK. And the real short story is that, he was on a PT boat. He was a hero with PT 109 and that whole story. That story should be told in Massachusetts schools as well as in the area. But so in Fall River, we have a PT boat on display down at Battleship Cove. What I would do if I were a senator like Elizabeth Warren or Markey, which I'm sure they won't, but I would try to designate a naval training station in Fall River for riverine training, which is PT boats, and then further on into Vietnam, it would have been either there were a couple of different types of PBRs. That's what my brother is on PBRs, and the reason I bring it up is my dad was on PT boats with JFK in World War II in the Philippines, and my brother, went into the Navy and then became a riverine on a PBR in Vietnam. So it's kind of close to home. But I would think that John Kerry would be interested because he was on a swift boat, and we have the perfect training grounds for PT boats and swift boats. Or PBR swift boats and the riverine forces here, because you can go up the Taunton River, and that's exactly what you're dealing with. So I think that there's a bigger thing that could be even more exciting for the area, which is bring a small contingent of Navy training back to this area, and designate it the JFK training center or whatever. But there's a lot. His background all of that could be pulled together into something that's more permanent and rememberable as well. Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. And even though that would be a training facility, you could still have some sort of public facing area for it where it could serve as, just like the library does in Boston, as a museum dedicated to him.
Well, yeah, and the other thing that most people don't realize is that in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, there's a place called Melville. And Melville was where JFK trained. So all of the PT boats in World War II, the crews were all trained in the Narragansett Bay. Matter of fact, in old movies, if you are watching like an old John Wayne movie, like They Were Expendable, which is a PT boat movie, they'll say oh, we're going to send you back to Melville. And it just is like a line. And you're like, oh, they're talking about Portsmouth.
Oh, wow.
Because it was well known back then that PT boat training was down in Melville. And my dad actually came back from the Pacific to do training for torpedo men at Melville. And I love the area so much he ended up living in Newport. So, but anyway, I think the bigger picture really is they have a riverine training facility, but it's in Riverside, California. I think that would be far better if that facility were here, especially with JFK's background and John Kerry. I mean, so anyway.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the information and for the idea. Have a great weekend.
You too.
And also important information here as we are heading, into Memorial Day, too. So think about those who gave their lives and people who did train in Belleville and other places and who didn't make it back and who didn't get to be lauded and celebrated as heroes like John F. Kennedy did. So what do you think about the idea? Would you like to see it become a state holiday? Again, I don't see a downside to it. I don't see a reason why anybody would be opposed to that. Certainly in this area, we know how much Kennedy was a beloved figure. As James said, Tony Cabral told him about all the grandmas who had his photo hanging in the wall. And I'm sure you had family members that had a Kennedy portrait hanging in their home as well. So I think it's an idea whose time has come and probably should have come a while ago, but something that certainly should be enacted now. What do you think? 508-996-0500. We can talk more about that coming up. But right now, let's turn things over to Phil Devitt in the WBSM newsroom.
Biden criticizes the GOP over border bill opposition. ADHD on the rise in America. And millions hitting the road for the holiday weekend.
From the WBSM newsroom, this is WBSM News.
President Biden is criticizing Republicans for blocking a border security bill in the Senate. In a statement Thursday, Biden claimed Republicans don't care about securing the U.S.-Mexico border and are only exploiting the issue ahead of the November elections. Biden said the bill would have hired more Border Patrol agents and provided funding to stop fentanyl trafficking. Attorney General Merrick Garland is rejecting Donald Trump's claims that the Justice Department and FBI had authorized, quote, deadly force against him. Earlier this week, Trump said President Biden's Department of Justice had authorized the FBI to use deadly force during the 2022 raid at Mar-a-Lago. On Thursday, Garland said the allegation was false and extremely dangerous. Scientists at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration are the latest to predict an above-normal 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Tammy Trujillo with the details.
NOAA is forecasting 17 to 25 named storms, 8 to 13 hurricanes, and 4 to 7 major hurricanes during the 6-month season that starts on June 1st. Forecasters say the increased activity is due to several factors, including near record warm ocean temperatures and the development of a La Nina weather pattern. This comes as the National Hurricane Center is tracking a disturbance in the southwestern Atlantic. Forecasters say an area of low pressure is expected to form within the system in the next day or so, but it's being given a low chance of developing as it moves away from Florida this weekend. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Supporters of long COVID research are criticizing the Biden administration over its lack of funding. The Long COVID campaign put out a press release Thursday calling on congressional leaders to set aside at least $1.2 million for research. ADHD diagnoses are on the rise. A new CDC study says attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is becoming an expanding public health concern. About 1 in 9 American children were diagnosed with ADHD in 2022. The study's authors acknowledged that the increase could be attributed to the public becoming more aware of the disorder and more often seeking care for it, or it said it could be a result of children's development during the COVID-19 pandemic. A famous dog has died. Kabosu was the sideways-glancing Shiba Inu dog who became the logo for the Dogecoin cryptocurrency and was one of the most iconic memes on the internet. The dog's owner, Japanese kindergarten teacher Atsuko Sato, posted on a blog today that Kabosu died peacefully in his sleep this morning. He was 18 years old. And the holiday getaway rush is underway, with AAA estimating more than 43 million people will travel 50 miles or more this Memorial Day weekend. Jacqueline Carl has more.
Some travelers will choose mass transit, but about 38 million are planning to drive, and a AAA spokesperson agrees this could be the way to go.
Road trips are obviously desirable for many people. They're convenient, they give you flexibility, and gas prices are on driver's side.
Gas prices are about the same as last year at about $3.57 a gallon. Drivers should plan on hitting traffic, especially during the peak travel time between 2 and 4 p.m. Heading home on Monday, experts say the best time to hit the road will be after 7 p.m. Jacqueline Carl, NBC News Radio, New York.
WBSM Sports.
The Celtics dominated the Pacers 126-110, winning Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals at TD Garden last night. Boston leading and will visit Indiana for Game 3 on Saturday night. And the Red Sox hoping to take their win streak to 5 games when they begin a 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers tonight at Fenway.
Now, your ABC6 South Coast forecast, brought to you by C Street.
We're going to start off your Friday with some morning patchy fog. Otherwise, we'll clear to mostly sunny skies. Winds will move in from the southwest at around 10 miles per hour. It's going to be warm. Look for a high of 82. For tonight, clear skies, your low near 53. And Saturday's going to be loaded with sunshine. Look for a nice warm high of 77. From the ABC6 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kelly Bates on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
The weather on WBSM is brought to you by C-Streak. Whether it's a daycation or a staycation, get there with C-Streak. Visit cstreak.com for reservations to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket. I'm Phil Devitt for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's News Talk Station, WBSM, and get all of our content and breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
And, of course, it is Memorial Day weekend for a lot of folks. It's the start of grilling season. And who better to talk to about that than Eric over at the Butcher Shop? Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Tim? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. Looking forward to getting some meat and throwing it on the grill this weekend because I think, this is the unofficial start to grilling season for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Today's the day, my man. This weekend's the day.
So what can they get if they come on by? What do you have for them today?
My man, I got a lot of stuff. It's grilling season. I got people already coming in and out. It's a little hectic in here. I got nice sirloins today. I got nice flank steak. Flank steak's nice. Good price, too, man. I got a filet mignon. Terrace major. Terrace is great for the grill, brother. I got tomahawks. I got nice celebrity chops. I got chorizo my dad just brought upstairs right out of the smokehouse, man. Real nice and fresh. I got stuffed shrimps today. I got ribeyes. I got everything you need, brother. Everything.
Whatever anybody wants to grill up or cook up this weekend, you've got it there. Plus all the
I got short ribs. I got boneless spare ribs. I got boneless beef ribs. I got everything.
And it's a one-stop place because you can get all the beer and wine you need for the weekend, too.
Precisely. Everything you need, I got.
And, of course, you're probably cooking up some stuff, too, as well?
Yeah, it's banana town in here, brother.
Oh, well, we'll let you get back to it. I just got to ask you really quickly, what are you grilling up this weekend?
God damn, you always do this to me. Every goddamn week.
It's everybody's favorite part of the discussion.
I forget. I swear to God every time. Hey, dude, you know what? I'm looking at the T-bones. I think I'm going to have a nice, porterhouse T-bone. Porterhouse.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a porterhouse today. That's nice.
That sounds...
What are you going to eat?
I'm thinking... I haven't had ribs in a while, and I'm thinking it might be a rib kind of weekend.
Beef or pork?
I like both, but I haven't had beef in forever. So maybe
when you
beef
get
ribs.
down here with the beef, I'll hook you up.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Thank you, sir.
All right. Later,
you have
brother.
a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
That is Eric down at the Butcher Shop, 123 Dartmouth Street in New Bedford. Get everything that you need for the grill. The thing about grilling season, the idea of grilling season, is that people get so hyped up for, having these grilled meals on Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. That grilled flavor hits no matter what time of year that it is. I mean, I'm out there in the rain. On a day like yesterday, if I had been home, I would have thrown something on the grill. I don't care. As long as I can open the top long enough and keep the rain from putting the fire out, I don't care. I'll grill in any kind of weather. And in fact, there was a whole time, 2020, when everybody was stuck at home, I treated myself. I had been saving up gift cards. My parents, every year for my birthday and for Christmas, they give me gift cards. And I saved them all up. And I went down to Walmart and I bought myself a grill that's, a gas grill on one side and a charcoal grill on the other side. And I had a little smoker already. And for the entire, I got that in like May of 2020. For the rest of 2020, I don't think I turned my stove on for the rest of the year. I mean, I was cooking everything out there. Even into the wintertime, I was cooking, if I was having some beans, I had the little side burner. I had the beans out there cooking. If I was cooking some asparagus, those were on the grill. If I was cooking some squash, instead of making squash and mashing it, I was chopping it up and grilling it. Brussels sprouts are another one of my big favorites. I cook Brussels sprouts, corn on the cob, all right there on the grill. I don't think I turned the oven on except to make pasta for most of 2020. That's how much of a grill fanatic I am, and that's why the Butcher Shop is the place to go. 508-996-0500. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Good morning, Tim. You're so very exciting about this food and grilling. I wish I could grill, but it's not allowed on the balconies.
Understandable, yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of got a sneak way of doing things. I cut a little teeny hole in the bottom of my sliding screen door, and I got a George Foreman's electric grill.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I'll be doing that. But I won't be doing that this weekend. I've got other plans. I'll tell you about them on Tuesday. But, yeah, so I just, as usual, just want to call in, wish you a wonderful 3-day weekend and everybody else out there.
And to you as well.
Thank you. And just enjoy, and just, let's all just be kind to one another and just have a wonderful, wonderful holiday.
Absolutely. And take some time to remember what the weekend is all about,
what
too.
It's about. Yeah. My husband was in Vietnam War, so I definitely, this anything military, chokes at my heartstrings. So.
Do you go out to any of the parades or any of the memorial services or anything?
I was doing that. Well, okay, so I'll tell you what I'm doing this weekend. This weekend I decided I'm going to volunteer for the Kendrick House.
Oh, excellent.
That I read on your story. Yesterday, I drove in that awful thunderstorm and everything to go get my mammogram, as they called it the day before, boob smashing. And then I was reading the story. I was waiting for a disc that I needed for an old disc that I had, an MRI on the brain. So while I'm sitting there and I read that story, I said, oh, my gosh, let me call there. And I spoke with her. I said, I can't get tables. I can't get folding chairs. I wish I knew right now. I was thinking a volunteer fire department might have those kind of things, but I don't even know if there's a volunteer fire department around. But, yeah, so I've been racking my brain. But I told her, well, you can have me. I can't get the chairs and table. So I'm going to, bring up some food, and then I'm going to help serve and whatever they need.
Excellent. Have you ever been to the Kendrick House before?
Nope, never have. Never even knew it existed until it was posted.
You'll love it over there. I used to cook up breakfast for, a lot of the guys that live there would come down to the diner that I worked at, and so I got to know a lot of them over the years, and great people there, and the staff has always been amazing over there. So it's a great time, and I think you'll really feel, you'll really feel the Memorial Day spirit being there with all of them.
Yes. Well, I just, like they say, I'm just so appreciative. I had no idea it was there. And this is something I've been, longing for with his past in 3 years. I'm so used to calling him and we'll do something, we'll go somewhere. He was taking care of his mom upon the time of his death. So that story, I was like, oh, this is great. It's a great blessing for me. So I'm being a little selfish for myself, but as well, I really am looking forward to it.
There's nothing wrong with taking a little for yourself when you're giving to others.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're actually taking something from them. But I mean,
right.
There's nothing wrong with the good feeling, getting a good feeling for yourself. That's not selfish at all.
Yeah. And then the butcher shop, I was thinking, so I'm going to give her another call today and see exactly if does she need more meat, because I just want to go. I just want to go there. I just want to help out any way I can.
Well,
so I thank you for that. And, so everybody have a wonderful one.
And you as well, and we'll talk next week.
Okay, kiddo. Bye-bye.
Take care. And, yes, that story is up at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app. So what happened was yesterday I had, finished up the show. I was in my office, and I've always got multiple tabs open on my computer, and one of the tabs is open to Facebook, so I can kind of keep an eye on things that people are talking about on social media. And in one of the Wareham town groups, someone who works at the Kendrick House had made a post. Now, the Kendrick House is a former hotel on High Street in Wareham behind Toby Hospital, over by St. Patrick's Church. And it was a hotel for a number of years. And in recent years, at least as long as I've known about the Kendrick House, so going on 30 years probably, it's been a home for disabled veterans. And so the people who work over there, I was part of a lot of different groups. When my son was in school, my ex-wife was part of the PTA. We would do like a pancake breakfast. And when we had leftover bacon and sausage and pancakes and stuff, what are we going to do with all this? Well, let's bring it over to the Kendrick House. And, when I worked at the diner, sometimes we'd bring them leftover food, and, it just helps them out, gives them a little something different. And I saw a post that one of the employees over there was trying to put together a Memorial Day cookout for the disabled veterans that live there, but they needed tables and chairs. And they were looking to borrow them from anybody that could loan them to them for the day. So I said, let me write up a little story about this. So I spoke to the woman, got the information, got all of her contact info, and put that story out. But there were a lot of people that were volunteering on that post to bring tables and chairs by and other things. They're going to play cornhole. They're going to have music. And other folks were like, well, we could do this, we could do that, and I can do this, and we can do that. So I think it's really going to turn into something special for those disabled veterans at the Kendrick House to be able to celebrate Memorial Day. Now, the issue is the weather might keep it from happening on Monday, and they might move it to Sunday. They're going to keep an eye on the forecast for that. But other than that, seeing the community respond and jump to volunteer to help out, and, Sketty calling in saying she's going to go down there and volunteer herself, I mean, that's just great. And that's a great way to spend Memorial Day. Because those guys, I believe it's all men that live there, those guys are going to be, thinking about the friends and the others that they lost during their time in the service. So it'll be good for them to have some other folks around and some new folks, some new people to come and visit, to thank them for their service and to help them remember the fallen. So it should be a nice weekend, and I'm looking forward. I should actually ask the folks over there to maybe send us some photos afterwards, and we can add them into the story, and people can see what a good time everybody has over there. All right, I've got to take a break here. We will be back in just a few moments. 508-996-0500 or app chat on the WBSM app.
Fits, putting on the Ritz.
That song makes me think of young Tim at the Papa Gino's in Plymouth. The old one, the one that's now the new location for Katie's Burgers. But going to that Papa Gino's with the jukeboxes right at each individual table and asking my mom or dad for a quarter so I could play Taco, putting on the Ritz on the little mini jukebox. And then there was the day that we walked in one day and they had turned off all those little jukeboxes and they had a big one over in the corner. And I went over there and I was so excited, but they didn't have putting on the Ritz. But I used to play that every time. And I would get mad if we sat in a booth that didn't have it in the little mini jukebox. Remember that? There was a time, people complain all the time now about, people are so rude being on their cell phone at the next table while I'm trying to eat with my family. People are so rude. They're having loud conversations with their family while I'm at the next table over trying to eat. Think about 30 years ago. We had people sitting at the table playing songs on a mini jukebox, which, by the way, had adjustable volume so you could turn it up all the way. It still wasn't really loud, but it was loud enough to hear it at the next table. So you're over there playing your songs on the jukebox while somebody's smoking away. And I'm sitting here, over the next table like, I don't want to listen to your terrible song or inhale your cigarette smoke. And we were fine with that. But God forbid somebody's talking on the phone in the next table while we're trying to eat our dinner. Just shows you how much our our outrage can change from one thing to another. Anyway, 508-996-0500. We have a little bit of time left here in the program. But again, if you see that story at WBSM.com or on the app, it has the contact info for the Kendrick House if you want to help out. Sketty said she may take some photos for us over there. DSY says that he is in support of the idea of a holiday for JFK's birthday. And HIS, or his, and Marion, going back to Mary's comments regarding plant-based protein, says, this lady, I've been a pescatarian for over 22 years and I have great blood work. So there you go. All right, I'm going to take my final break of the morning. We'll be back in just a few moments. And welcome back in. Just want to let you know, if you're looking for a place during this weekend to get some good, delicious baked goods, muffins, pastries, donuts, or some delicious sandwiches, go to Sunrise. Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop, 506 Bolton Street in New Bedford. You can go there and get a nice platter of sandwiches. You can go there and get an individual sandwich. Maybe you just want to get yourself a quick lunch. Maybe you want to feed the family. Maybe you want to have that as your cookout. And you don't want to have to cook up stuff for everybody. Sunrise is the place that can help you out. And, of course, make sure you get some of their delicious treats. Everybody loves the pastries and baked goods from Sunrise Bakery. So stop in and visit them, 506 Bolton Street in New Bedford. That's going to do it for me for today.